Yes, we are live.
Yes, the
Oh,
stream is
now it is.
live. Yeah, the stream is live. Thank you everybody for coming. Pleasure to be here. I'm Stan. I'm part of the NOWNodes team. I do business development, and I'm here today to answer whatever questions that the audience might have about the LUKSO Ecosystem Support Program that we're running. So, Jonathan, could you fill us in on the basics?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. Jonathan from the LUKSO BD team. Yeah, I mean, LUKSO and NowNodes has been working quite closely together since almost pretty much, I think, the start of the network. And so we were, kind of brainstorming together, to see how we could provide the most um, value to the devs within the ecosystem. And so that was really the genesis for a lot of this, right? We knew we had the Hack the Grid hackathon coming up, and then so it's twofold how Now Nodes is getting involved here. They're a sponsor of the hackathon with a subset of the prize winners. The first place winners would get access to the tooling that's super needed building on Luxo, and then also we have a broader kind of campaign which Stan's gonna get into that we're really excited about to really support as much as we can um, with the tools that the builders on the Luxo ecosystem have to innovate at the end of the day. So yeah, it's just a pretty casual kind of AMA. Go through what this is about. What the application process is like, the timelines, and open up the floor to any questions from the devs.
Yeah. Okay. So um, let me fill the audience on the basic stuff, on the essentials of this program. So this program is a joint initiative by the teams of NowNodes and LUKSO. What we're trying to do is to empower promising projects who build in LUKSO. It doesn't matter whether you're a solo dev, whether you're a small team, whether you're a big enterprise. Um, we have something that will help you accomplish your goal of building whatever project that you're building. And essentially, what we offer is an opportunity to outsource your infrastructure to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to support your constant access to LUKSO blockchain data in the span of 4 months. Within each month, you will get up to 20 million requests. So that will totally makes it 80 million in the span of the program. And you will also get a 24/7 support with a response time of less than 10 minutes. Now, about the application process. Application process has begun 2 weeks ago, as far as I'm concerned, and it's going to be on for another 2 weeks. It's really simple, and I can share you the link where you can. Oh, I'm not sure if I can send it here, but Jonathan, would it be okay if I send it to Telegram and you can
Of
add it
course,
here,
of
because
course.
I'm not really familiar with this streaming platform. Okay,
Yep.
so here's the link. This is basically a Google form where we ask you some questions. Just fill this out and send it to us. There's some sirens going off.
I'm gonna go on mute.
Something's hot. Okay, yes. So you fill this application, and you have until April 28th. April 28th is going to be the last day that we're going to be accepting applications. Then let me just clear the date. So yeah, we're going to take some time to discuss internally with LUKSO uh, the winning projects. And on May the 6th, we'll announce the winners. We expect to be getting 15 to 20 winning projects. So on May the 6th, So yeah, after the application period closes, we're gonna make a Twitter announcement on NOWNodes Twitter page or X page, and we're gonna be informing the audience about the winners on May the 6th. And afterwards, we're gonna contact the winners and discuss the provision of what we offer. Of course, we expect that the projects gonna be of different sizes, different formats, so there will be details and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have individual talks on how we can provide you the best service possible. So that's basically it about the project, about the ecosystem support program. That's the essentials. If I'm sorry for that one, I just dropped something. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them right now. I'm not seeing. I don't think I'm seeing a lot of questions. So I hope I made myself clear, but I think we can cover something else.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a question. I'm not sure. Have you, has NowNodes, uh, I'm sure you've done this with other ecosystems. Do you have any kind of like tips for developers that might be applying? Yeah, to increase their chances of being part of this program. What
That's
are some of the
actually a
things?
good question. That's actually a good question.
Yeah,
Um, I haven't been on the committee. A committee is kind of a big word, but you know what I'm saying, right?
yeah,
On the team that decides on the non-nodes part, who they like to apply, who they like to pick, right? But as a guy who's been around the program and who's been with the program since the start, what I can say is just be confident, be you know straightforward, just show some confidence and be straight to the point. That's the best advice I can give.
okay,
I'm
got it.
sure. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interesting projects, and I'm sure there's going to be a pretty tough competition. So, you know, the more confidence you show, the better the outcome is going to be. And I must stress this: it doesn't matter the size of the project, the budget. It doesn't matter. What matters most is the idea. Now, to pass the ball, could you tell us about LUKSO's roadmap? Because we'd be interested to know. It's April. We still have 8 months before 2026, so we could align schedules. Maybe generate some new ideas.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, in terms of what we're focused on right now is obviously getting the kind of social use cases up and running, especially for the grid. We see a huge opportunity for developers to be able to build some really cool things on the grid without having to create a full scale D app where they have to manage like all of a whole separate website with all the sub pages. The great thing about the grid is really the fact that you don't have to worry about all of that, and then you can focus on all of your time and energy, not so much on the interface of things, but make it simplistic, and then focus on the smart contract side of things, right? Really um, developing on the LSPs and what that has to offer, right? Because there's a lot of cool things that you can build on it now, and so definitely there's been a focus on builders, which is why we had launched Hack the Grid, which is a whole 4 level or staged hackathon slash grants program, so that people could test things out, could innovate, and we're already seeing some pretty cool kind of applications around social and culture on the network, right? Another priority is really now that we're starting to see the seeds and kind of really cool things on the social side and those flywheels, and we'll encourage to have more of that kind of built out across the ecosystem. Now it's time to bring the financial side of blockchain into LUKSO as well, so that we can, bring those and marry those two together, all under kind of one interface and in a blockchain as well. So that's a whole another side of things. Yeah, but I would say it's really those two things, right? Focusing on, giving builders the tools that they need, opportunities to get involved, to build, have a lot of education on the core tools and the very powerful kind of building blocks they have to build now, and then also finally venturing out on the financial side of things, so that we can take blockchain to the next level. So yeah.
That sounds great. And now that you mentioned the financial side, my take of LUKSO was always that the finance side was kind of in the background. What your main focus is is the creators, is the social thing. Could you tell us how you plan to intertwine these two realms? How do you connect the creator side and then the financial side? So how this thing would look in the final form?
Yeah, for sure. Because on the financial side, there's a lot of core primitives that are missing from the ecosystem. So, when you're talking about two-way bridges, borrowing and lending protocols, liquid staking protocols, whole incentivization layer, all the core tooling that's required to, for a builder that wants to launch a project and a token, but then doesn't necessarily have the tooling for like liquidity locks and smart contract vesting or kind of like staking modules. So, with these core primitives on the LUKSO ecosystem, and then in tandem to raise awareness for our ecosystem, we're also bridging over our token into other ecosystems so it can plug into DeFi externally as well. And all of this is really, to have builders who historically have been in DeFi and have been working with very limited tools, such as EOAs and on the account side and ERC20, to really start digging into the value proposition of LUKSO and how we're innovating on the standards front, because it solves a lot of the issues that we see in blockchain today. And so after getting the core primitives existing on our ecosystem, and they start playing around with it, I think there's a lot of interesting things that could be built within DeFi, right? When you look at the core standards, we have, and what the core standards are for any new developers, tuning into this is, they're almost, on Ethereum, what we have is ERC20, 721, maybe 1155, and then a whole host of others that haven't gotten adopted. And so a lot of the network effect has gone into those three standards, right? But it's really holding back the space in terms of what could be built, a lot of really cool interactions that could happen on a blockchain as a result of really just being stuck with these core building blocks. And so at LUKSO, how we're innovating is we're introducing a whole set of new standards where it's not just defining, hey, we've got roads now, we're going to drive on the right side of the road, we're and street lights, but there's a bunch of other things that need to be standardized, right? How a smart contract account is deployed. What are the standards that make up that smart contract account so it's super generic, right? That allows other things to be built on top of it. On LUKSO, we have something called universal profiles, which is your smart contract account. You can attach unlimited amounts of metadata. How's the metadata being encoded in a standardized way attached to the account? How is it being decoded by websites, by applications, and the like? And so, yeah, it's really gonna, allow for people to build things that they couldn't build before, right? Because if you look at, say, because you asked about on the financial side, right now on LUKSO, I mean, you could build an application where the application has, a universal profile itself. As it gets followers, it could automatically route tokens to whoever followed it, right? Or multiple kind of tokens or NFTs. Things are that, things like that are now possible with LSP1, which is something we call the universal receiver, which allows for inherent notification when, let's say, value is transferred. Both, the sender and receiver are informed of that event, right? But that doesn't that it's not limited to just value transfers, right? It could be something like a follow, something that's non-financially um, um, a message that's non-financial in nature, but that causes a trigger of a financial kind of transaction or interaction on the network, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot to kind of unlock there, but some interesting kind of interactions that could be
Yeah.
done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that
Absolutely.
one standard alone unlocks, because now if your account can be notified of assets coming in, you can react on them also, right? So
Mhm.
token comes into the account, automatically stake it, automatically send it to another protocol, and then that triggers something else
Yeah.
as a result of that. And so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how people kind of innovate on that.
Absolutely, absolutely crazy stuff. And
Yeah,
one other thing I wanted to, to dwell on,
yeah.
this whole crypto industry got really big since it started, and it's relatively young, I guess. It began
Mhm.
in what, 2011, right? And now we have people like the CEO of Chainlink, uh, i- in a cabinet with Trump and his administration talking about smart contracts and how it can, revolutionize the world. What is your take on what the crypto will do to the world in, like, in, let's say, 20 years or so?
In 20 years.
Yeah.
Um, we're kind of stuck at the moment,
Mm.
right? And really the only kind of persistent or lasting use case we have right now is DeFi. I mean, we've seen other kind of verticals come and go. Um, and like I'm sure the rest of the team, I mean, we're all pretty aligned with this at LUKSO, but we definitely think the future is, applications that are either a combination or could be non-financial completely, right? And we're missing that piece, that persistent kind of identity um, that you call your profile, right? In which you interact like across the web with, right? And until we move towards um, sort of like a regime, not a regime, but like into a point where your account is no longer a wallet, but it's a profile, that expresses you as a human. You're really not going to be able to see a lot of these extra use cases kind of come to fruition, right? Because that identity piece is missing. It's a huge part of what makes you as a human, and it's not really being reflected or really um, uh, really represented on chain, right? And so that's what we're focused on at the moment, and we think it's going to lead to the next wave of applications, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's just financial with a bit of social, but it'll all come kind of into one place, and that's the only way for us to really move beyond these speculative cycles, right? Because if the main use case right now is DeFi, well, then the whole blockchain space is really tethered to the business cycle and how the Fed is printing money. And so when the economy is not doing good and liquidity, recedes from all these ecosystems, then you lose all the users, you lose all the traction, you lose, a lot of these type of things, right? And so until we can get use cases where, sure, yeah, there's a financial component to it, but more importantly, um, you know, there's kind of non-financial use cases around whether it's like decentralized social media, gaming, real world assets, which for a long time we called phygital. It's a combination of digital and physical. It's going to be very hard to get out of these market fluctuations, right? But as people start using really useful apps every single day, um, that can finally kind of compete with the Web 2 kind of social media platforms, which is what they're missing too, because they're missing the financial aspect, right? Everything kind of combined in one. Yeah, it's going to be hard. I'm not so optimistic, but I am on the flip side optimistic, because we're solving um, that exact use case, and setting the right foundations to let that happen and flourish within blockchain as a whole, right? Like
Yeah.
the goal is actually not like, hey, we're creating this innovative stuff, we want it to only happen on LUKSO. It's to first create this innovative stuff, have people playing around with it. As they innovate, it shows the rest of the space, hey, maybe this is the kind of approach we need to take it, right? Maybe we need to start thinking about those core pieces that we don't even think about, we just take for granted, and build very kind of hacky solutions to what we want blockchain to be. But we almost have to dial back, think from first principles at a very fundamental level. What's missing in the space, what are those pieces, and then build on top of, or build from there, basically. So yeah.
Jonathan, it's been absolute pleasure listening to you, and your enthusiasm. I wish I had this level of enthusiasm, because it's always great hearing somebody who's genuinely interested in figuring things out, and really, really honor to be working with you guys. So,
And
is there any?
the team is actually, what I get inspired by, and where my excitement comes from, right? There's a lot of very smart people on the team that have just been thinking through almost to an OCD level, which is a great thing, how to make it super unbiased, very generic, and really thinking through, like, if things come up in the future, how do we make sure it's flexible to take on those new functions, or new standards that come, that we as a network need to be prepared for, right? Because new things will come up. So yeah, huge shout out to the rest of the team. They've been working really hard, racking their brains to make this happen. So yeah, and I'm just helping to amplify it. But yeah, we're all really excited here.
It's been a wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that we can cover? Because we spoke about the support program, we shared some thoughts on the whole crypto thing. Is there anything else from the audience? Should we have some questions?
Let's take a look at the chat.
I only see 2 messages, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. GM.
Good morning. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I take it. Well, this thing was pretty self-explanatory, so there's no further questions. So let's just sum this whole thing up. So
Cool.
the LUKSO Ecosystem Support Program, what we offer is basically infrastructure outsourcing for free for any kind of project that is built in a LUKSO. You have 2 more weeks to apply. The link, I believe, yeah, apply here. Here goes. It's here. So the link is here. So yeah, if anybody want to reach out to me personally to know more about the program, to ask any questions that you may come up with later, I can send you my Telegram link, and you can reach out to me anytime. So yeah, if there's no more questions, I think we can wrap this up, I guess.
Sounds good. Thanks for your time, Stan, and appreciate it. And really happy we get to work together on these 2 kind of initiatives. So
Thank you, Jonathan, for having me. It's been a great pleasure.
likewise. All right.
Okay. See you guys.
Bye, everyone. See ya.